Welcome, students. Today we're going to tackle a topic that is absolutely essential, not just for your theory papers and vivas, but for the very future of public health in our country. We're talking about the HPV vaccination program. This is something you'll be seeing and practicing for the rest of your careers, so let's get right to it.
Now, before we begin, please note that the content of this rapid revision is the result of all published evidence, media reports, and official government guidelines over the years. It is foolproof and fully trustable for your university and competitive exams, so you can be confident in the information we're about to cover.
So, to truly appreciate the solution, we first have to understand the sheer scale of the problem we're facing. Cervical cancer in India, well, it's not just another disease on a long list. It's a massive public health imperative. And the numbers are truly staggering. Just look at that number. Over 120,000 new cases every single year. I want you to remember that behind each of these numbers is a woman, a mother, a sister, a daughter. It's a family, a community, torn apart by a disease that is, and this is the key word, preventable. And if the number of cases is alarming, the mortality figures are heartbreaking. We lose nearly 80,000 women to this disease annually. To put that into perspective, that means India accounts for nearly a quarter, 1 in 4, of all cervical cancer deaths on the entire planet. That's why this is so critical. Let this fact really sink in. Every 8 minutes, another family in India loses someone to cervical cancer. It's a silent, relentless epidemic. And you, as our future clinicians, are now on the front lines, equipped with the knowledge to fight back. Okay, so we've established the burden. It's immense. Now let's pivot to the solution. And to understand it, I want to give you a very powerful visual metaphor to hold in your mind, the idea of an impenetrable shield. So what exactly is the enemy we're fighting? It's the human papillomavirus, or HPV. Now, it's a large family of viruses, but the two villains we're most concerned with are the high-risk types, HPV 16 and HPV 18. Remember those names. Together, they're responsible for over 70% of all cervical cancers. This is the key. I want you to visualize the HPV vaccine as an impenetrable shield. When you're explaining it in your communities, when you're thinking about it for your exams, this is the mental model to use. It's a shield that safeguards the future of our young girls. So how does this shield actually work? Well, first, and most importantly, it's a prophylactic or preventative vaccine. It's also a non-live vaccine. This is crucial. It contains 0 viral DNA, which means there is no way it can cause an HPV infection. It's impossible. Instead, it uses these harmless, clever little things called virus-like particles to train the body's immune system. And the result? An incredible 97% protection rate when it's given before exposure. This is the definition of primary prevention, stopping the disease before it even has a chance to start. Now, taking this incredible science and applying it on a national scale, that's a monumental task. In fact, many are calling the launch of our national HPV vaccination program India's polio moment for women's health. It's that big a deal. All right, here are the operational details you must have at your fingertips. The target group is girls aged 9 to 14 years. That's the perfect window to build that shield. The schedule is a single dose, which is a major update. It's provided completely free of cost in government facilities. And, of course, it's voluntary, so it requires mandatory parental consent. Everything is going to be digitally tracked on the UN platform, just like our recent successful COVID vaccination drives. Now, let's take this out of the lecture hall and into your field practice area. I want you to picture this. You're inside a bustling rural primary health center. Over in the corner, you see an A&M and an ASHA worker, our true frontline warriors, patiently sitting with parents, counseling them, answering their questions about this new vaccine. This is where policy becomes reality, and this is exactly where you will soon be. So, which vaccines are we using? 2 main ones. We have Gardasil 4, which has been used globally for years. But, and this is a real moment of national pride, we also have Cervavac. It was developed right here in India by the Serum Institute. Having our own indigenous vaccine, well, that's a complete game changer for making this program affordable and sustainable for years to come. And don't just take my word for how significant this is. Dr. V.M. Katoch, the former Director General of the ICMR, called it nothing less than a landmark moment in India's public health journey, a visionary and transformative step. That single quote perfectly captures how the entire public health community feels about this. Okay, Let's shift gears. Pens ready. This next section is what I call your exam edge. These are the high-yield points, the ones that are very likely to come up in your Viva Voce or in your NEET PG exam. So imagine you're in your Viva. The examiner looks at you and asks, "Doctor, the previous recommendation was for 2 or even 3 doses. Tell me, why has the national program decided on a single-dose schedule?" You need to have a confident, clear, evidence-based answer.
And here is your answer, broken down into 4 clear points. First, it's based on strong recommendations from the highest authorities, both the WHO and our own NTGI. Second, and this is key, Indian studies have shown that a single dose gives comparable, long-lasting protection. Third, think logistically. It's much easier to administer 1 dose than to track a child for 2 or 3. It massively improves coverage and efficiency. And finally, we're not alone in this. Over 90 other countries have already made this switch successfully. All right, another classic for your competitive exams, especially NEET PG, is vaccine classification. You absolutely must be crystal clear on the difference between a prophylactic vaccine and a therapeutic vaccine. They love to ask about this. It's really very simple. Prophylactic means prevention. It's given before you get sick to train your immune system for a future fight. Think of it like training a security guard before a robbery happens. A therapeutic vaccine is the opposite. It's given after you're already sick to help your body fight off the disease. So, where does our HPV vaccine fit? It is purely 100% prophylactic. Okay, we have covered a tremendous amount of ground. So before we wrap up, let's distill everything down to the most critical, must-remember information. I call these the 3 golden points. If you remember nothing else, remember these 3 things. Number 1, the burden. Cervical cancer is a massive but preventable killer in India. Number 2, the shield. The prophylactic HPV vaccine is our safe, incredibly effective primary prevention tool. And number 3, the action. India's national program is a historic public health achievement, giving a free single dose to girls from 9 to 14. Burden, shield, action. And one last absolutely crucial point I want to leave you with for your future practice. Vaccination is the cornerstone of our strategy, yes, but it is not a replacement for secondary prevention. We must continue to encourage regular cervical cancer screening for women later in life. The shield is powerful, but a combined strategy of vaccination plus screening is unbeatable. And finally, as I said at the beginning, everything we have discussed is based on evidence from the most authoritative sources: WHO, NTGI, ICMR, and the Ministry of Health. I strongly encourage you to look them up for any further reading. Thank you for your attention and keep up the excellent work.